Hey, Woof Woof. Lily. Hey, Woof Woof. Hey. You want to help me RGH system? Nah, she honestly doesn't care all that much. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and this video that we're doing here is going to be pretty similar to the video that I did previously on, just recently on another Xbox 360, where a subscriber, I'm gonna get it right this time, the PSP Ivan, thank you again, man, really appreciate it. I was saying the PSP Ivan before, but it's the PSP Ivan, that's his name. He was awesome enough to donate a JoinTheResistance Jasper Xbox 360 to the channel, and he's like, hey dude, like really the only thing he wanted, I paid shipping, he was like, hey, I'll donate so you can make a video on it. I was like, cool. So I made that video. If you want to check it out, I'm going to have like a card or somewhere where you can check that out. And that wasn't a tutorial, but it was just me, talking through it, rebuilding the system, talking about how I got it, all that fun stuff. And I decided to do the same thing with this console right here. Now this, I think it's a small block, but this right here is a Jasper. It's definitely not JTAGable, but it is RGHable for sure because, well, it's a fat console. But what we're going to try and do is, I've never done this exploit. I've done RGH 1, I've done RGH 2, JTAG, RJTAG, but I've never done the RGH 1.2, which is an exploit that came out, I want to say, about a year and a half ago. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think it came out like early 2016. That's when I first saw it. Anyways, essentially what you do is it's the same wiring and setup as an RGH2, except there's different timing files for the chips that make it so much better. So you get like RGH1 style boot times, which were much better than RGH2. Now what's going on here is I actually have a couple consoles, so I'm going to be doing a video for another system. But I have a couple consoles. A friend of mine is wanting to buy some, and he's actually wanting them RGH'd. So I offered him a few. I have a couple that are Zephyrs that are already done, but I told him about the Jaspers as well too. And he's like, you know what, I'll go ahead and get those. And he was just wanting the better reliability, all that fun stuff. And I told him I'd have to work on them, but I said, you know what, this will make for a fun, good video. And also, as I said, I haven't done RGH install in a while, and I've never done RGH 1.2, so I'm excited about this. So I believe this is a small block. As I said, this actually used to be my primary console, and it was more decked out. The drive's been flashed. It used to have blue LEDs, but I actually ended up swapping the RF board out. So those LEDs are now in my JTAG Jasper. And it also had LEDs, let's see, it had blue, well, even multicolored, but I set in blue. It had LEDs on the sides here, and I ripped those out, also put them in my JTAG console. I also did a case swap too, because the case on here was admittedly a bit nicer, and he's not going to care about the case, so I case swapped that, even though you can't see it here. And finally, it also had a, I don't know if y'all can see it from the residue there, but it had a Sonus 360 that was there. Actually, if you watch my Sonus 360 tutorial, this is the console that I did it to, and I ripped that out as well. So I tried to return it to stock as much as I could just because I wanted those extra bells and whistles. Except for the Sonus, I just ripped it out and I haven't reinstalled it. But the stuff that we're going to be doing, so we got the console right here. We're going to test it out, make sure it actually still works. But I got a bootleg Rev C Cool Runner. Some people might be yelling at me for using a bootleg. Dude, they don't... T9 Executor doesn't produce this anymore, alright? Also, another plug here, I did a full video over this as well where I actually compared a good install with a legitimate Rev C, and I compared it to bootleg Rev Cs and Rev Ds. Spoiler alert, the bootleg Rev Cs perform exactly the same as the original, like, legitimate Rev Cs, except they're a lot cheaper. So I know also some people might recommend the Ace chip or something. I have these on hand. I don't have to pay anything extra, so I already have these right here. I didn't have to go order any more stuff. So we got one of those. Got the Kingbo Flux right here. Got some isopropyl alcohol. Got, let's see what else here. We got some electrical tape. Sorry, I just kind of got distracted with a notification on my desktop. Q-tips for the isopropyl alcohol and the flux. This little not desoldering stuff, but just to clean off the tip here. My soldering iron's off camera right now. And also got me some Propel right here so I can stay hydrated. And just in case I get hungry, I also got some dog biscuits. Because, like you're hanging out here for a bit, you start... No, seriously, these are actually for my dog. She's just hanging out with me here, so I figure, every big step we take in this, I'll give her a treat. Let's give her a treat right now. Hey, Lily! Look! And she demolished that. No, it's still there. Alright, she's just gonna segment it out. She wants to enjoy it. Also, for my online resources, because I don't have this memorized, of course, I already downloaded the update right here, so this is for 17511. I'll probably update the console to that, because if anyone's yelling at me, it doesn't make that much of a difference, honestly. As I said, this console cannot be JTagged, and it can't take RGH 1. It's updated too far. So at this point, it can take RGH 2, RGH 1.2, a few others. But got the cache system update right there for the JTAG portion, or the RGH portion once we mod it, and the cache system update for, when it's stock and if we want to update it here. As well as this, I'm also going to be using JoinTheResistance's guide, which seems to be extremely well written. I've skimmed it once or twice. I know there's been some other really good video tutorials out there. I did check out Modded Warfare's tutorial, and it was really good for sure. But then I saw this, and I was like, you know what? This also looks pretty well written. There's plenty of pictures. So I'll check this out for sure. If I have any issues that I'm running into, I'll probably watch a video tutorial, but this looks fine. Also, if you hear any whining or scratching or anything, that's my dog just being a dog. So, yeah, also on here there's several downloads. So for our downloads, I'll show you this. Right here we got JRudder v3 Beta 7 already with the 17511 files packed into it, the RGH 1.2 files, and I also did save his tutorial offline just in case. Alright, so we got the console right here. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up. Make sure it does work, because I haven't fired this up in maybe a couple years, honestly. It does light up green. That's a good sign. And let's see what dashboard we're on. As I said, I know it's nothing super special because it can't take RGH 1, it can't be JTAG, but I'd still like to see this. So it looks like the regular dashboard we have right now, console settings, and we are on dashboard 16547. Alright, cool. And now we're going to get to the fun part. We're now going to rip this thing out of the cage, and we're going to start soldering to it. So I got my soldering iron here, nice, ready, warm, and ready to go. Huh, well that's annoying. So check this out. I was taking the motherboard out, and as I was pulling it out, one of the X-clamps got loose right there. So that's just a little bit annoying, honestly. I'm going to have to get my X-clamp tool and just pop it on there, because we really don't want that to be loose. Alright, so first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be dumping the NAND and all that fun stuff. So if you all can see, first let me put my mask on. We're going to have to clean up a few things, and okay. Oh, let me also get my NANDEX. That was the thing I was forgetting. But if we can find it, it looks like right here I had a wire, and right there I had a wire, and I just ended up cutting them. But let me grab my NANDEX. Alright, so first off, I am going to clean up a little bit of the old flux here, and get this old wire off, just like actually desolder it and all that fun stuff. So first off, let me get this, get some rubbing alcohol. Alright, so we have all the NAND wires installed right there. That was actually a lot easier than I expected. I was expecting one or two of them would give me a hard time, but the reason why I'm now going to go ahead, hook it up, and dump the NAND now, as opposed to if you saw my JTAG video, what I had done was I did all the wiring, and then I did all the exploiting at once. Since the RGH does take more time, and it's a bunch of wires and all that stuff, I want to make sure we can read and write the NAND properly, and then once we do that, I will write over the ECC, and then we'll start with the RGH side of things. So let's go ahead and get this hooked up to our computer. So check this out. This is something I never do, but got all of my stuff started right here, at least for the NANDEX. Got the NANDEX hooked up, but I couldn't get this running on my desktop for whatever reason, even though I just disabled driver signature enforcement. I knew the drivers were there, but even though it made the sound that it was connecting to my desktop, I couldn't even find it in the device section. So what I did was I tried this on my laptop, and check this out. Rarely ever get my laptop out for this, but the thing is the NANDEX is reading on there. Now the strange thing is I thought my NANDEX was dying because it wasn't working on the desktop, but I also tried my JR Programmer. Now my JR Programmer did read, so I was like, okay, maybe my NANDEX isn't working properly, so I might have to get it replaced or something and maybe just use the JR Programmer. But the JR Programmer is much slower than the NANDEX, so I decided to hook up the NANDEX to my laptop, and it works. So I guess we're going to do the rest of the work on the laptop here. So I got it all connected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Read NAND, and there we go. Check that out. That is exactly what we want to see. So I also just realized it wouldn't take terribly long since it's a 16 megabyte Jasper, so Actually, I could have used the JR Programmer, but I'd still rather use the NAND X. I think the JR Programmer takes like 6 or 8 minutes. This takes 2 minutes per dump. So yeah, no, we're just going to make sure we get 2 solid dumps with no issue, and then we can see what we can do from there. While we're waiting on these NAND dumps, though, let's go ahead and open up our Cool Runner right here. So, yeah, I just cut my fingernails, so this actually kind of hurts a little bit doing this, but there we go. All right, I don't know if this one I've used or not, but let's see. So I used one of them for testing, but I threw it back in there. So I'm going to need something to cut this. Where's my scissors at? I swear I had my scissors here. Alright, cool. I guess I misplaced everything. Damn it, you know what? I was about to cut this and then I realized that you don't even have to cut it. You can just literally rip it open. There we go. So, just showing you all what this looks like. We got one NAND dump. Sweet. So that is the Cool Runner Rev C right there. Looks like a regular stock one, well, a regular, not bootleg one. I'm trying to think of the word. A genuine, authentic one, whatever you want to call it. The only differences really are, one, it might not look as well built. Let's see, we're going to have to change this to Phat, and we're going to have to change this to Program, because we're going to program that first. And then also it doesn't have a serial number on the back, so that's kind of a given. Comes with the sticky stuff right there. And then as for the cables, we got Phat cable, we got slim cable. I'm going to go ahead and use the Phat cable, so we can pull that out. And we're going to go ahead and take this all apart and solder it to that. But I'm also going to program the Cool Runner as well too with a timing file, which I'll show. Alright, so as you can see right here, we have our 2 NAND dumps. It looks like there were no bad blocks. Everything matches up the same. Took just over 2 minutes for each one. And right here, we went from 16547 to 17511, as you all saw right there. No KV info will load up yet. We know it's a Jasper 60 megabyte, and of course no bad blocks, as I said before. So now we're going to go ahead and program the Cool Runner. So, got my Cool Runner right here. This is just kind of a note to you all because I didn't find that much information on it. I know some of it's out there, but I mean it's also been so many years as well too. Let me get into the better light right here. Make sure if you're programming it, the smooth side is up. That is supposed to be how it's supposed to look right there when you program it. And for my settings, I'm just going to try the default settings on here. So let me go ahead and try and zoom in if I can. There's a few things that you can modify. First off, I'm not going to try using... Man, this is horrible. Hold on. First off, right there where it says JP, I'm going to keep that one bridged, so I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to keep the setting at 3.2 bridged, and there's a cap right there, right up there that you can install. I'm not going to put the cap there. So we're going to see how that is just on complete default settings. Now before I disconnect the NAND X from the console, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to create Zell Reloaded. Zell created successfully jasper.bin, and now I'm going to write Zell Reloaded. So it's going to write it over to the console, and technically at this point we will have a exploited NAND. The problem is we don't have... There we go. We don't have a way of booting it, so that's why we now need to install the glitch chip and program it so we could actually boot up that exploited NAND. But technically, this 360 right here does have a hacked NAND on it at this point, despite it really only being Zell. Alright, so now we're going to try and program the Cool Runner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Advanced, Custom NAND Cool Runner Functions. We need to select XSVF, excuse me. Need to click the ellipse right here. Now I need to go over to this RGH 1.2 folder. And there's these 2 folders right here, If You Mad, and try these first. I kind of want to see what's in If You Mad. Oh, okay, those are like the individual timings right there. Interesting. But what we're going to do is we need to go back to try these first. And since we're using a Cool Runner, we're going to select Matrix. I know it's that those don't match, but it does say in the guide, use Matrix if you are using a Cool Runner of some kind. We're going to go down to XSVF. And we kind of just have to go down these, and you kind of have to find one that just works properly with your system. So I guess we can start with the first one. Let's do RGH 1.2 12. So we're going to try the 12 file. We're going to hit run. And done. Alright, cool. That's it. So now our chip has been programmed. What I'm doing right now is I'm just warming up my soldering iron, and now we're going to work on soldering the chip into the console itself. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and solder all the wires to the chip right here that we need to. So first off, to do that, I'm going to, even though this is a chip and I really don't need to, I will clean these up. Really didn't have to clean it, but again, it's okay. And I'll flux these as well too, so we have a good surface to work with. There we go. It's probably more than what we need, but it's totally okay. Alright, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to start tinning all these points. And we're not going to use E or F. We're just going to be doing, let me move my microphone here, we're just going to be doing up to D. Alright, so we got all those points tinned. They're shiny, they're round. I think we're good. So now at this point, I'll go ahead and start soldering in all the wires that we need. Yeah. Alrighty then. So there we go. How am I gonna do this? You know what? It might be better if I do this from above. So we got all the wires done here, so let me go ahead and kind of straighten these out a little bit. Looks like these should all be okay. Again, I'm just using the stock ones that came with this, so I think we'll be good here at this point. We should be solid. Alright, cool. Again, this was, actually I'll change this back to Phat. This is going to have to go into NOR mode for now, so we could actually boot up the console, and let's go ahead and get this installed. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cleaning up the points here, and I'm going to start doing the actual board install. So we just need to first clean the points, tin all of them, and then we can start installing the wires. Alright, so at this point, it looks like I got the soldering done on here. What I did PLL down here. The post I'll go ahead and take off the mask. Post I did down here, so I only have 2 wires that are running here. I was going to use a few alternative points, and I did use one of them. But let's see, the 3.3 volt I used up at the top. The black wire this came with, it actually wasn't big enough to reach down here for ground, so I just used the prong up here for ground. The regular clock, the standby, I think this is, yeah, standby clock. I didn't have wire, I just didn't cut any, but the default wire here wasn't long enough to go to an alternative point under the board, so I just soldered it to the original point right there. And then for the CPU reset, I actually use an alternative point that is on the top of the board right here. So we have those all soldered in. What I'm going to do is tape down the ones that are on the bottom of the board a little bit, just so we have some stability, and then we can start trying this out. Alright, so I ran into a bit of a peculiar problem. What was going on was I had that 12 file flashed over to the chip. I haven't tried any other ones, and I think this was kind of because of the heatsink at the bottom being a bit loose, but sometimes I would boot it up and I would just get instant red lights, which is normally either a Southbridge or a HANA issue, and the error code was 0010. I was thinking maybe I did something with the hardware, I wasn't sure, but then sometimes when I held down the CPU, and that was another thing, when I pushed down on the CPU, it would do 4 sets of pulses, and then it would red ring on me. I didn't check the codes on there. When I looked it up, I mean, it was logical. They said, you know, if this is going on after you've installed a Cool Runner chip or you're doing a mod, flash back to stock, so that way you could tell if it's a hardware issue or not. What ended up happening was I decided to reflash stock. My wiring here was a bit messed up, though, because I kind of like pushed down on it. So it actually didn't write properly, so what happened on boot, it would do like the green lights, and then I would get an E71 code. So I redid my NAND wiring, reflashed the system. It flashed with no errors this time. And this time, as you can see, the fans are spinning up. Now this is not modified right now. This is running stock, and I have disabled the Cool Runner. I put the Cool Runner into program mode instead of normal mode. So that way the Cool Runner's off when it's hooked up to the system. So this is working. So what I'm going to try and do is, let's turn this off. I'm going to try and flash another timing file onto that. I'm going to recreate Zell. I'm going to flash that over, and we'll see. Because I'm trying to get it to boot up without red ringing, but let's just see what we can do. Alright, so what I did right here, as I showed you all, I was able to reflash back to stock, 100% stock, nothing modified. Recreated Zell, reflashed it. I actually haven't tried I haven't changed the timing file yet. I've just flashed Zell on here, so I know this is working. Let's go ahead, flip the switch on here. Alright, so now that should be running. Let's give this a shot. So it's pulsing. Those were some long pulses there. Okay, so it keeps pulsing. So this is what I was wondering as well, too. Because, see, here's the thing. If it fails... Interesting, so it's red ringing again. Okay, and let's get the error code off this. This is a 0022. Interesting. Alright, next I might need to... I'm going to try another timing file, and then I'm going to check my wiring on here, like the actual RGH wiring. So, let's see what's up. Hey, guys. Check this out. Look, we got Zell. This is actually great. So I used I think the 18 file, the 18 timing file. There we go. We got our CPU key. We got our DVD key. And guess what the fix was? So one, I can tell you, I for sure have good wiring. I made sure because I changed a few things. What I did, I changed the standby clock. So my bad. I actually had the standby clock soldered to a resistor as opposed to a pad. So I fixed that. I had a CPU reset. I was using an alternate one here, but I decided to use the one that was recommended, well, the original one, not really the recommended one, but the original one down below on the bottom of the board. I changed the routing of my wires a little bit, but guess what my fix was? Yes, I did solder that wrong, but even so, I was still getting issues. Right here, I was supposed to create an ECC image. The whole time, I was actually creating and flashing a Zell Reloaded image. You want to know what the difference was? If you pick JTAG, it creates Zell Reloaded. If you pick Glitch 2, it creates ECC. I saw that, and actually, you know what jogged it? I started looking up other tutorials. Big shout out to Modded Warfare. I saw his, and when he explicitly said ECC out loud, I was like, wait a minute, ECC? I'm not seeing that right here. And then I saw, it's supposed to be a glitch, not a JTAG. So we got that. We got the CPU key. We got the DVD key. Mostly the CPU key is what we needed, but we can continue. But before I do that, I need to take my dog out, so let me go ahead and do that first. But hey, let's even see if I can show you all this booting. So, wait for the fans to turn off. Again, this is using the, let me get the file name right here. Custom CR NAND. Alright, I think I'm using, I believe that 18 right there. There we go. RGH 12_18. So, sorry. I know it keeps focusing in and out. Anyways, let's go ahead, turn this thing on. Right, so the chip pulsed. That's it. That's it. I don't even have to play around with files, I think. So, there we go. We got Zell. So I'll be right back. I'm going to let Big Wolf out. Alright, so we're back over at our console and check it out. You know, another thing I'm happy with too, that boots up so fast. Well, we're going to see when I hack retail to it, but that boots up so fast right now, I don't even think I need to do any tuning on this. So what I'm going to do is I have the Ethernet cord plugged in. I'm going to turn on the console. Oh, it's staying solid green. There we go. Okay, it's flashing a ton. There we go. Cool. Yeah, it took a few seconds to boot up, but it still booted up. Alright, so it's now going to check for... Zell's going to come up. It's going to check for DHCP. Let's watch this. Lily, are you itchy enough? Dude. That's 192.168.1.225. Alright. Alright, get the CPU key. And check that out. Check that out. We got it right there. Sweet. Alright, so now this is the fun part. What we get to do is we get to create the XE build image. Oh! Shit. Hold on. It's supposed to be a glitch too. It's definitely not supposed to be a JTAG. I think that might have been my fault for picking that originally. Oh God, it's gonna run through that. That's JTAG. No. No. Load source. Definitely not. Alright. So let me grab this real quick. Okay, so we got NAND dump 1, NAND dump 2. Yeah, this is definitely my issue on there. It is glitched. It's not going to be a CR4. Let's try and create. Yes. Alright, so starting creation of the 17511 build. Again, just double checking for sure. It's that same console, NAND dump 1, NAND dump 2. We got the CPU key. It is glitch 2. Alright. And cool! We got it. So, let me go ahead and check everything. That NAND info, KV info, no bad blocks. That all looks fine to me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to flash this over to the console. So let's give this a shot. Alright, so we have the console powered off. We do have it hooked up to power though. And right over here we have everything loaded in that we need to. So I'm going to hit write NAND. And it's writing. So in about 2 minutes we'll see what happens. Alright, so check it out right there. The write has been completed. I just unplugged the NAND X from the console and from my laptop, and right here we're back at our console. So what are we going to do? Let's go ahead, turn this thing on. Alright, so there's one boot cycle. Holy shit! That's amazing. Oh, why did it freeze? And it froze on boot. That's that is not amazing. That is not amazing. But I did find my scissors right there. They're underneath my toolkit. Alright, so why would you do that? Oh boy. Alright, so I'll run you guys through what I did. I took the original NAND dump, flashed it back to the system, turned off the cool runner, and it booted stock perfectly. Then what I did was I made sure both NAND dumps were in there, NAND dump 1, NAND dump 2, made sure glitch was selected, created a new ECC, wrote the new ECC, got into Zell again, created a new XE build image from glitch 2, and then rewrote that, so everything is fresh. Got it all right here, and I will show you. So go ahead and turn this thing on. Just got done glitching. There we go. We got green lights. And let's see what's going on here. And now it looks like we got to the 360 logo. It's thinking, it's thinking. And there we go. Cool. Alright, what I'm going to do as well here too is I'm going to turn this off. I don't have a flash drive with, damn, this dog is itchy. I don't have a flash drive with the XEX menu on it or anything. So the only thing I could really do to prove right now without doing that is turn it on from the eject button. It glitched a bunch. We got green lights. And let's see what's going on here. There we go. We got Zell Reloaded, which would only show up on exploited console. So, perfect right... Excuse me. Man, perfect right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this thing off. I'm going to clean up the points a little bit. I'm going to tape down the wires and all that stuff on the back just to make sure they're secure. And then let's see what we can do from here. Alright, so before I put this all back together, I did desolder all my NAND wires. I cleaned up the extra flux and all that stuff, and used a bunch of rubbing alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol, all over the place. But just wanted to show you the actual install itself. So for the ground wire, I just went ahead and used the chassis of the Xbox itself, or at least this little point right there, just like we used to do on RGH 1. The guy did recommend using that point down there, but I think I covered this. That wire was not long enough, so I just decided to, solder it to the little chassis itself. 3.3 volt right there. Pretty self-explanatory. It's the red wire. And then the clock, I'll go ahead and zoom in right here. Standby clock is right there, soldered in. Little tiny point, and it seems to be just fine there. I might tape that down. The back, though, was the real intense stuff. That was the fun part here. So I ran all three wires through this hole right here, and kind of check this. Got the yellow wire right there. Got the blue wire right there. Got the green wire right there. Those are just the normal recommended standard points. And then what I did was I taped it down at some of the points I just taped it down now just to make sure, everything would stay stable. I think I'm going to tape this side down a little bit. And, excuse me, I think that's the only really point I need to do aside from clock. So I'm going to do that, reassemble this, and make sure we're ready to go. Alright, so I decided to start putting this back in the cage. I want to see if this will make a difference, and check this out. Fantastic. It's not a hardware failure red ring, but I'm getting a 0010 error right now. Immediately on boot, as you can see, it's like, check this out. There, it's instant at that point. I've tried pushing down on the GPU, CPU, Southbridge. I haven't tried HANA. I'm gonna need 2 hands for that. Excuse me. Either way, though. It was after I taped down everything. I had removed all the stuff. I was making sure, it worked, and then I taped down the wiring, and this has been a very touchy install. I'll say it's extremely touchy, to the point where it's almost annoying. I'm going to go to bed, though. I don't feel like diagnosing this any further. The hack NAND is on there. It was working. Tomorrow I'll probably take this out of the chassis and I'll see what the hell's going on. But yeah, no, I'm tired, and yeah, I'll say this, I'm not impressed at how touchy this exploit is. Alright guys, so I think I got it working now. It's the next day, I've played around with it a bit, and man, the wire placement on this thing, man, I swear, if you don't place the wires properly, you're going to get red ring codes, you're going to get freezing on boot, you're going to get all these other little issues, so you gotta really tinker with it. Like, the timing files seem to be okay, at least, the 1 or 2 I've tried. As I said, I'm using that 18 file. But anyways, I will show you all this thing booting right here. So check this out. It's done glitching. And it booted. So it's taken probably like 5 to 7 seconds to boot up. And as you can see right here, 360 comes up, and let's boot to the dash. Because sometimes it will freeze on boot here. So, there we go. We got it. Now, the reason why I feel more confident with this is because I am going to show you. Let's go ahead and turn this thing off right here. And what I do when it turns off, I wait until the fans completely stop, so there's no more power. So the power's been cut. Fans have stopped, and then I feel safe rebooting it. But I'm going to unhook this and show you the bottom of the board now. Alright, so if you're looking right here, right where I'm pointing, this is where Southbridge is supposed to be, and we're at the bottom of the board. Originally, big shout out to, I think his name's Activa, with a bunch of H's on Twitter. I actually asked on Twitter while I was at work today, I was like, yo, Red Ring, this is the code, it was a 0010 code, RGH 1.2. Who's messed with this? And he was telling me about the wiring, which everything I read about seemed to be related to the wiring. And what happened originally was I had all three of these wires right here coming out of this hole, which is closest to the heatsink. I actually read that that doesn't seem to have very much success, so I actually ended up moving them. So this hole right here, which is this one that is closer to the hard drive port, I end up pushing the yellow, I believe this is the post wire right here. So I ended up, I'll show you all some better detail of it. I end up running it this way. Come on, there we go. Man, I would love it if this thing focused! Alright, so I end up running the wire right over here, all the way over there. And that was it. I originally got the placement kind of roughly down, and then with these two wires right here, I was trying to separate them out originally. Now every console is different, but I figured if I kind of keep them close together like that, and then start splitting them up right here, they seem to be fine. At least on this console with this timing file. I am going to go in and I'm going to clean up the flux and all that right here. The reason why it's flux is because I just ended up desoldering everything and resoldered it, at least on the bottom. The top I've noticed doesn't make too much of a difference, but the reason why I did it like this, so what I did was I kind of got the wires in a rough place, all these wires here, and then what I would do is I would kind of start taping it, and I would see if it would boot or not. And if it did boot, awesome. If it didn't boot, I would start changing up the wires. And then what I did was I felt comfortable kind of with the yellow wire right here, so I ended up taping it in this direction. I flipped the console over, I booted it 5. Every time I tested it, I made sure I would get 5 successful boots to the dashboard. And if I got 5 successful boots to the dashboard, I'd flip the console around, and then I'd kind of find where the placement is here, and I would tape it down. Flip it back over, and if I couldn't get the console to boot, I'd flip it over again, change up the placement. So for this console, this seems to be the proper placement, at least for me. It seems like these wires work well together, and then this one I separated it out, and it seems to be fine, and I taped it down, and I've taped it down. I've gotten 6 successful boots in a row with this system to the dashboard, complete glitches, no freezing, nothing. So we're going to try and put it in the cage and see how it's working. Alright, so check it out, guys. We got the console reassembled right here. I did test it several times while I was putting it back together, and I feel pretty confident with it. So first off, let's go ahead, eject this. We're going to boot into Zell. As you can see, boots super fast in there. We got a reading on the monitor. And there we go, we got Zell reloaded. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is focus, if it can. Alright, cool. What I'm going to do is just turn it on regularly. And that's it. Finish booting up. So, cool. Should boot up to dash here. It has not frozen at all. Like, at all since I redid the wiring. So, we've been good on that. What I'll also do here is I will show it booting up some homebrew. So right here, had to download the XEX menu ISO. Burned it to a disk because my computer was being really iffy with flash drives. My desktop's just being really weird right now these past 2 days. But anyways, it's reading. Should auto boot. And let's see what happens. And I'm going to press back because I don't have any profiles on here. And there we go. We got XEX menu. So perfect. The fact that we can load XEX menu means that we have a hacked retail dashboard. So quite happy with that. So overall, I'll give you all another taste of the boot cycles right here. Just going to pop this out. Turn the console off. I normally wait a few seconds just for it to completely stop. And then let's fire it back up one more time. There we go. It's solid. There's a few times it will not boot. It has never red ringed since I redid that, but a few times it just won't boot. I've noticed if it doesn't boot within like 15 seconds, it won't boot up. But it has a very high boot rate. I'd say over 90% success boot rates. So anyways, that's my first venture into the RGH 1.2 exploits. It was fun. I was surprised at how touchy it was, but yeah, we made it. We made it. So now I get to do a second system. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Should do it this way so I don't offend anyone. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you all enjoyed this video, a like would very much be appreciated. If you absolutely hated it, a dislike is fine as well too. And let's see what system we're going to do next. I actually know what system we're going to do next. But yeah, I guess give me some other recommendations as well too. We'll see what's up.